The Adventures of Batman.
Welcoming you to the new adventures of Batman.
Welcome to BATMANIMATION, a Batman on Film podcast that explores the animated adventures of the Caped Crusader. I am your host, Ryan Lauer, and with me is another Ryan. We've got the Ryan duo here, Ryan Haas, Sheriff. Pew pew. Hello, Haas.
Hello, it's Christmas with BATMANIMATION.
Yep, that's about right. That's how it goes. Yes, this is welcome to episode number 14, Christmas with the Joker, and very happy to have you on here. Thanks for sitting down to get in the holiday spirit with me in a way that nobody has ever done before in the history of podcasting.
Very original.
Yes, but I just kind of feel like there's no way we can't do this episode. I know Bill and I on the last one we just did, Invasion of the Secret Santas, which is a fantastic yearly watch for me of Batman the Brave and the Bold.
So we're going to exhaust 2 Christmas episodes in 1 year. Well, it's going to be difficult in the future. There's not as many comics to choose from.
Maybe we won't double dip in the future like this year, but I just felt like I really wanted to this year. But there's some more Christmas content we can dip into if Batmanimation hasn't been shut down by next Christmas season. So, let's hop into this. 1992's Batman the Animated Series episode.
Yes, it's Christmas with the Joker.
Now, this episode aired November 13th, 1992. And this is a lot of fun to always talk about Batman the Animated Series as far as what number the episode is, because there is always the argument back and forth of the release date order, and then there's also
the production order.
Now,
and famously, the production order. This is the second episode.
There you go, and that's what I always referred to because when I was able to watch it. So this was released on one of the a VHS. I think was on a VHS tape. In which didn't know orders of anything with VHS tapes. You just got episodes.
Those are grab bag episodes. Yeah. Villain themed.
And when the DVD collection came out, this was, volume 1, disc 1, episode number 2. So I just always felt like this was the second episode. For years, I felt like this was the second episode of the series. But it's actually interesting, as you just said, this is production episode number 2, but actually this is episode number 38. As far as airing goes.
Yeah, they had almost, let's see, air-wise, the first Joker episode was Joker's Favor, which is pretty interesting because you watch Christmas with the Joker, there's no Harley Quinn, and you're like, Harley Quinn doesn't show up until Joker's Favor. So if you go in production order, there's 2 or 3 Joker episodes before you get Harley. But if you go in air date, you get Harley right away and then not for a while. Because the way these were released, you got Joker's Favor and Joker's Wild and The Last Laugh and something else. Be a Clown or something. You got you got a bunch of those, and then you get Laughing Fish after that. So that's really interesting. I always tend to think of the shows and watch them in production order, just because I feel like that's cleaner. That was probably their intended way, especially early on in the animated series. There are some continuity things where it's helpful to watch it that way because you'll see Harvey Dent before he's Two-Face and stuff like that. And I'm sure that they aired them that way too. Probably.
To me, it's just
still.
I like watching them more that way, and I think HBO Max has as the air order. not
Yes, they
production
do.
order.
Yes, they do.
And I forget with the Blu-ray
The
release how
Blu-ray is the
that.
same as the DVDs.
Okay, good. Because
Yeah.
I like the gradual evolution of the series, I think.
Yeah. You can
You
see the
know,
animation improve and change and the voices change.
the voices
Early
change.
on, Alfred is a different actor.
Yeah, so
In
this
the
one,
first few
Clive
episodes.
Revel
Yeah.
is I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Clive Revel instead of
Yeah, from Zimbalist Jr.
thank you, Ed from
Yes.
Zimbalist Jr. And that's a little off-putting, especially rewatching it,
It sounds like Ephraim Zimbalist with a cold to me.
yeah. Yeah,
He's got a Christmas cold.
yeah, it's not and I think you can you can hear with Conroy too. Conroy's different as far as his Bruce Wayne is granted I know it's just this one episode, but there is I think a difference, a more comfortable Bruce Wayne coming out of Conroy, as
Yeah.
episodes go
But
on a
he's
little
not
bit.
necessarily the public Bruce Wayne
Yeah, I mean here
either.
it's like, as we've always talked, especially on BOF and everything, of there's three versions of Bruce Wayne. There's public Bruce Wayne, there's private Bruce Wayne, and then there's Batman.
Hmm.
And this one you get the private Bruce Wayne through and through.
Yeah.
In which he is a little bit more serious and not jumping up for joy and kicking his heels together. But I like that. Yeah, so I mean, like we've started to say, I like that this is beginning stages of this show, and it's
Hmm.
interesting to see, you watch a much later episode where they found their groove, and then here's one that they're still, you know, forming the clay. Would this have been one then that Tim Curry recorded voices for?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think he recorded the three of them.
Yeah, three of them.
This one,
Before
the last
conflicting
laugh.
reports of he got fired and
This
he
one, the
got
last laugh,
bronchitis.
and be a clown, I believe, were the three that he did.
And there was one we shared it, amongst ourselves recently.
It was
where
from the last laugh where he was like trailing off and told Batman he stinks because he had the trash on him, and he's like, "You stink, Batman! Pew pew, ha ha ha, pew pew."
And I mean, I
It
know we're
sounded
so
was like,
used to Hamill, but it's not one where I was
they
like,
made the right
ooh.
call. It was
Yeah, I think Hamill
as good as we know, like Tim Curry could have been.
yeah.
Whatever the choices he made for that, it's not like, wow, he could have. That's not what you expected, really.
No,
Very interesting.
Hamill, and this is my favorite episode of the animated series.
Really?
Yeah, this is the one that I've watched the most. This is one I at least watch it once a year, obviously for the Christmas time, but it is just pure fun entertainment. It's
pure
not
joy.
like exactly. Love pure joy, and it's I don't know, it's similar to me of kind of how Batman 89 is, of if you want to like break down story wise and really gut punch emotionally and all that stuff. It's like Batman 89 of the Batman movies probably doesn't do that one the most, but it's like it's the most, almost maybe is the most rewatchable Batman movie because it's just pure like great entertainment.
Yes,
With so many awesome Batman and Joker moments. That's exactly what I think with Christmas with the Joker.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Hamill is just like, he's kind of unleashed for being so early on in his Joker voice, and he nails it. Like he doesn't stray. You look at now and look at the last of this, the animated series, how Hamill is performing as the Joker. There isn't a huge difference. It's like he found it early on and then just coasted. And I think he's awesome. I think he's great.
Yeah, the cool thing to note here is that while this is only the second episode produced, they're still figuring out the animation style and the writing and the voices and the characters. It does still come across as very fully formed. I feel like tone-wise, this episode is, a lot of the earlier episodes of animated series do skew more towards like 60s show-ish. Like the tone is a little bit lighter, and doesn't lean into the noir as much. I mean I say that, but of course On Leather Wings is very like a very complete thought there. But a lot of those early episodes, I think if you listen to some of the commentaries on the home releases, they'll say the
Mhm.
same thing where they had a bunch of different animation houses doing different episodes, and they'd get some back like this one, or
I need
like The Last Laugh, and think that they were like,
I need to
not
listen
as
to some of those. Like I've
yeah.
I've never listened to a commentary on one of
Oh,
these
they're
because
very good. They're very
it's
good.
really hard for me to listen to commentary and watch and not just be like, well, stop talking. I just want to watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And which I know I'm choosing
But they're
commentary, but
so
that's what
good
I fall
because
into.
they're only 22 minutes
Yeah, so I feel like I really need
episodes.
to do that, especially for an episode like this that I know so well because I've seen it, like 100
Hmm.
times.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but so interesting in the sense of with this, it was written by so you ask anybody who doesn't pay attention to credits and look, I feel like everybody would say like, oh yeah, this was written by Paul Dini.
I know.
And surprisingly, no. Written by Eddie Gorodetsky,
Hmm.
directed by Kent Butterworth. Funny fact with both of those is that this is the only episode that Eddie wrote, and it's the only episode that Kent directed. And it's like one of the highlights, like one of the what do you want to say, most popular of the whole series. I think I know because it's Christmassy, and so you got the
Hmm.
holiday and stuff, but it's by two guys who didn't do anything else with the series. I mean,
Right.
Eddie Gorodetsky went on to have a really successful TV career, which I didn't know this until I looked him up, that he's been going strong. um a producer for Two and a Half Men, a producer for Big Bang Theory. I think he's a creator and a producer of Bob Hart's Abishola. The episode Mom, he was a producer. Like sitcoms, this guy went on to have a very, very successful career in TV sitcoms. Good for him. But it's just like it's so wild too. Like, really? The guy who wrote Christmas with the Joker? you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
very impressive. And then as far as Butterworth, like he's more just involved in the animation departments of stuff. Uh, but I mean, dipping into a ton of DC work, like he was in animation department for The Killing Joke, Green Lantern, Beware My Power, the most recent, Green Lantern, most recent Catwoman, Injustice, The Long
Hmm.
Halloweens. Like he was involved in the animation department for those, and then also in like recently, this is right up our alley, Trick or Treat, Scooby Doo.
Ooh.
The recent straight to video streaming, all that stuff, which is
Yeah.
actually a pretty damn good Scooby Doo movie, if I may say so myself.
Yeah. We've
So
seen it.
I found that to be kind of fun, interesting to learn that two guys in charge didn't really do much with the series.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Well, I think like early on, Warner Brothers Animation had a big stable of people that are interested in working on it. They were taking all the work they could get from all these different avenues while they figured out where until like the big core team coalesced. And that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of how Dini got into becoming like, oh, he's one of the people that are throwing in scripts to, oh, he's an integral part of the stable of people here,
Mm-hmm.
all the scripts and all the people funneled through, Alan Burnett. And they would make notes and things. And that's how Dini got started too. Like I think he had some episodes, but he also consulted on a few that weren't his that he was able to either make notes on or touch up or whatever.
If,
Yeah.
it was included in the Blu-ray release, and I highly recommend you buy the Blu-ray release of Batman animated series. But in case you can't, for whatever reason, on YouTube the documentary is included that gives the history behind this. Cannot recommend that documentary more.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's really good. It's on YouTube
That
now, I think.
Yeah, and so there
Yeah.
you go. There it is for free. Um, but I mean, it hasn't been taken down. The Heart of Batman documentary. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess it's on the Warner Brothers Entertainment
Yeah,
channel. So
they released it on YouTube.
there you go. And that
Yeah,
gives like a lot of great information on the start of this and how people got
actually.
involved and stuff. So I highly
Yeah.
recommend that. That's neither here nor there. So this episode, highlight number one has got to be
Jingle bells, Batman smelt, Robin laid an egg. The Batmobile lost the wheel, and the Joker got away.
Oh my gosh. Probably the first place I heard it
same.
legitimately. Like I had definitely heard, first of all, I saw this when it first aired. I was in the era of, I know we've mentioned this before. Is this the first animated series episode you and me have covered on this show?
Yeah.
Or no? It is. Okay. Yeah, I would record animated series episodes on VHS tapes.
I would too.
after school. Yeah, so I've got like the Fox Action Theater, and they had the cool like transition animations, and I have the commercials of the time. I still have some of those VHSs,
I wish
and
I
it's
kept
great.
mine.
I've got like Pizza Hut commercials and commercials for like Wario Land or
Burger
Mario
King.
Land 2, 6 golden coins. Like I've got all this cool stuff. And yeah, so I definitely watched this when it first aired, and I was just completely enamored with it at the time.
Yeah, definitely. I think me too, that this is the first time I heard that version.
Yeah.
Maybe, because I'd have been in grade school. I'd have been in first or second grade when this, let's see, it was 92. So I'd have been in kindergarten, dating myself, aging myself. I don't date myself. But anyways, but we know Bart Simpson in the Simpsons first episode sang this, where a lot of people would think that like it originated. I tried to look up. But
it was way before.
Yeah, there's no concrete, Joe Miller created this song in 1970. There's no concrete, but it's definitely, I think Comic Book Resources might have done an article that was tracing like mentions back in the era of the 60s series.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's such a huge takeaway. It's a song that people that don't watch Batman stuff know. I just got a t-shirt, an ugly sweater t-shirt from Amira who with that on it, which is a lot of fun. So that still sticks around. I think that's the takeaway number one. Do you have kind of any other, or what are some highlights for you?
The entire setup, the whole opening where Joker gets to sing that and escape.
Crashing through the roof in a one-horse open tree, busting out I go, laughing all the way.
As I mentioned, it has a very 60s show opening. It reminds me of the episode, I forget the episode of the 60s show, but the one where Joker's playing baseball and he just kind of like there's like a public event and like the baseball,
that's his first episode.
Springs. Oh, is it? So yeah, it's like that. It's kind of like he springs out of jail and then goes on a rampage, and just the fact that like Joker doesn't really have,
I think it is,
his ultimate, what really is his ultimate plot here, other than to just cause chaos and ultimately throw a pie in Batman's face. Like there's no ultimate goal here. That's his punchline, is just to like completely mess with Batman, and I think that's kind of hilarious.
Absolutely, and I think it's a lot of fun too. Of he's broadcasting. Joker's smart enough to know like Batman's going to track me down, but I'm going to go ahead and give him a side mission, and I'm going to blow up this.
This episode is brought to you by Bumble. Bumble is a dating and connections app that's built on kindness and respect. It's also all about helping you find what you're looking for, no matter what that is. Whether it's someone who loves to hate all the same things as you, someone who's down for that casual coffee to turn into an all-day date, or someone to be your +1 for all those upcoming plans. They're all on Bumble. Just make sure to look for people's interest badges on their profile. That'll let you know what they're into and how they spend their time. Then dive deeper by checking out their bio. Find what you're looking for and download the Bumble app today.
Train track.
And that harkens back to like Joker's early appearances where he's just takes over, the radio, or takes over broadcasting. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And so I think that's a lot of fun and funny. It's let's prolong you finding me, and you have to go save these people.
Yeah.
And he's having a lot of fun with it. And his studio audience, which is great. Haas just changed his background to the image from that episode of the cardboard cutouts. I think that's hysterical as well. Of he has his fake audience in literal form.
It's such a production. It goes to the like, oh, if the Joker was a failed comedian, is this like a weird warped way that he's trying to like live out his fantasy of like,
point.
If I was, and I just have never noticed that or thought about that until now. It's like, he's trying to recreate like if I was a famous comedian, this would be my special, but I can't. So now I'm going to do it all too. Yeah,
like classic Joker. As he's got them like cheering and laughing at the like the laugh tracks at the perfect time to make it cheesy funny. And then when he says like he wants his own family or to something with a family, since I don't have one of my own, and then he frowns.
I
and you hear,
decided to steal one. Yeah.
aw, and you get the awe from the crowd, and then the
Yeah.
awful family.
Like there's some goon in the background that is like adjusting the audio, like
Yeah, it
in the
shows that guy.
claps and doing the applause, like lights
Maybe
and
that
stuff.
was Harley. We just never
maybe.
saw her. Oh my
Maybe.
god, it's looking at that. There's something that has stuck out to me always that makes me laugh. So he takes over the broadcasting, and immediately, so Bruce and Dick are sitting down to watch It's a Wonderful Life because rewind a little bit, because Bruce doesn't believe that there isn't going to be crime. Robin, he believes in people, and he thinks like, you know what, it's Christmas Eve, people are not going to do anything, so they're patrolling Gotham. And you see one instance where it looks like a guy is going to go mug a woman, but instead he's giving her a present to her because she dropped it. But I love the way that the guy talks. Because, hey,
Yeah.
lady, hold up. You dropped this package a couple blocks back.
Yeah, it's so good.
There's something with it that gets me every time. Blah. And
It was like, what was the man? I should have asked Andrea Romano that when I got the little brief interview with her a few years ago. Okay. And she would probably remember too. Christmas with the Joker. You have that one guy that talks like this. What was the motivation? It's probably like, it must have been like, this is what kids sound like in 1992. Like,
but, I mean, it's like they're still trying to shake the Michelangelo West Coast vibe from the 80s, from TMNT. He was like, oh, dude, block. I don't know. So
right.
Every time it makes me laugh. Joker's hideout in the end is also another classic Gotham trope of he's in the most obvious place. LAFCO.
I thought of that. I thought of that today too. And yeah, Batman has like a very 60s, like Robin's like, Batman usually always has a plan, but Robin's like, what do we do now, Batman? I don't know. Where do you think he is? We can't figure this out. The LAFCO toy factory, of course. Like,
I meant to, so where I was gonna after, but I got so derailed with Bach is they go back to Wayne Manor, and the Joker's broadcasting, and they're back in their suits down in the cave, and Batman says it's never easy with the Joker. And then it's like it cuts to Joker more broadcasting and stuff. And then it cuts in back to the Batmobile where they're watching him on the TV in the Batmobile, which to me felt very Batman Returns,
Yes.
That nice little monitor.
Yes.
But it cuts back to Batman in the Batmobile with Robin. And then he just goes, it's never easy with the Joker. Like there's no reason ever with it. And I think I always laugh in the sense of like, what? It's almost it's like this bridging this gap from the Batcave all the way up until in the Batmobile. He just keeps repeating to Dick of, it's never easy with the Joker. It's never easy with the Joker. It's never easy with the Joker.
With the Joker, it never is.
Yeah,
like you
Bruce,
see that repeated in like The Dark Knight. Like,
I get it, man. It's never easy with the Joker. Thanks, got it.
It's definitely a Batmanism.
Before they get to LAFCO, they find at the Gotham Observatory on Mount Gotham, which is, I mean, a fun there, little scene there. But I'm trying to see with my notes. Yeah, Mount Gotham, and there's a big old Joker in a box, which of course is fun. And I think that's a point. That might be the point where, because then there's going to be like, it's a trap for Batman, more obstacles, lasers shooting at him and all sorts of stuff. And Joker is fourth wall breaking because Joker sends it to commercial break in the show, but also for the show. So it even fades to black as he's like, after this, word from our sponsors. And then it cuts to black. That's fun.
Yeah. And I saw that, like, I love that. I remember seeing that when it aired, and I was like, oh, they transitioned right into the real commercials. Oh my gosh, what a cool. I didn't know what meta meant back then, but that's a very meta type moment where, I mean, a very smart, like, ties into the story, but also like works really well. Yeah,
a little cheeky, little wink, but not being like overly obvious with it. It's kind of fun with that way. But Joker has a bunch of like Joker guards there that all, I mean, this sound echoes in my head all these years later constantly of the
oh yeah,
like
yeah.
that just keeps going, which is funny.
And
then
yeah, and here's the thing too. This being Hamill's first Joker episode. So for all the Tim Curry episodes, Mark Hamill had to, I mean, normally in animation you record the voices and then they animate and then you might do some cleanup after, but Hamill was coming in after the episodes were already done and redubbing over somebody's performance that had already been tailored to that performer. So Hamill had less leeway and had to he had like a finite amount of time to kind of match where Tim Curry's voice
finite,
was, but also
the exact opposite of infinite.
Exactly. DC
okay, carry
finite. On. But so not only does he have to do the voice, but there's also a whole lot of things in this episode where it's beyond Joker with his voice, like just Joker talking lines. There's a lot of things that the Joker does in this episode that enhance his presence, whether he's talking as a show host or the laughy hand puppet or this, Joker Jack in the Box thing or the giant the
Nutcracker
Jokers.
Oh,
yeah. And then there's also like the Nutcracker music that happens later in the episode, and there's a lot of off-panel things of just long stretches of Joker just like laughing his ass off screen and stuff. So like there's a lot of stuff that, and it makes me wonder, like, was that already there or did Hamill throw that in there,
Yeah.
So it's a really interesting thing that he has to show a lot of depth and range in this performance right off the bat as his
nailed it. I mean, he said, it's been known. I've got what was the first Son of the Demon, by Mike Barr, and that was I think the hardcover release might have been like 1987, and Hamill did, wrote an intro for that. So
really?
Wow, years before he was cast as Joker, it's like, oh, it's Luke Skywalker. And he, in the Hollywood Reporter article from, celebrating the 25 years of the show, they talked to Hamill too. And he just kind of said, like, he's a massive like comic book fan. He's a fan of this stuff. And, and they just didn't think that they'd cast Luke Skywalker as the Joker. Yeah. And so he just kind of gave it his all. And I think that, I don't know, like one of the smartest decision that they made, I mean, was probably, okay, now I can't rank it. I'm like, wait, hold on, it kind of spiraled because it's just a whole, grouping of the talent behind the scenes when it comes to Andrea Romano, Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, Alan Burnett. But then you get into the casting of Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill, like just like that right there, all those pieces, they needed the perfect pieces and they got them. In that scene of fighting with the Joker guards, I love it's a total nod to Adam West. Robin, Operation Cause and Effect.
Exactly. That's not the kind. That's the kind of '60s stuff that you don't normally see, elsewhere. And Robin pulls out like a giant walkie-talkie out of it, out of his utility belt.
Excellent. They get, and then at LAFCO is the big, the main event, the fighting. I think the Joker Nutcrackers playing Tchaikovsky's The Nutcracker Ballet music during the scene, which I think is awesome. And Batman has a bat, takes out people, and of course Robin.
They don't call you Batman for nothing. Yeah. Yeah.
This is fun because it ultimately leads, as you already mentioned, to I mean, we haven't mentioned much, but it's like that's the whole driving force of, yes, the Joker got out, but he's also got Commissioner Gordon, Summer Gleason, and Harvey Bullock all wrapped and tied up with candy canes in their mouths, and he's going to drop them in a vat of chemicals, whatever. So Batman's going to save them, and in the end, it's like Joker just wants to give him a present. So Batman has to open it, and it's a pie to the face, in which he finds it hilarious. And then Joker ends up tripping on a skate and almost falls in. Well, he cuts loose because and this is another great gag. His coat that he's wearing, as Batman goes to grab him, he slips out of because
it's like a double coat.
It's a double coat sweater with hands, and Joker slips out, and then he just giggles about it like it's the best joke ever.
Yeah,
and it's weird to say that something Joker does is charming, but it is, because
Yeah.
it's just like, what a dumb joke, but man, that's funny because look how happy he is because
Yeah.
that
But
stupid
almost the
joke.
same kind of end is replicated again in I think the last laugh, where he's just Batman's after him and he like kind of slips through his fingers a couple times, and then he just kind of slips and falls or whatever at the very end, and Batman is just
Yeah.
left holding him dangling from some pit, and he's like, Batman, it happened again.
I mean, it's perfect in line too of Nicholson in '89 too. At the end, he's like, "Let me give you a hand," and then it
Oh yeah, yeah,
crunch,
yeah.
and it's the hand out, like, I give you a hand. Like, there's
Yeah.
such cheesy jokes, but it works too because
Yeah.
classic Joker fashion. Joker's about to fall in. Batman saves him and holds him, and Joker does a good old bah humbug, which is like the third time they reference A Christmas Carol in the episode because they mentioned Scrooge and stuff too. But I think that's a good. The joke of the pie in the face is good. Joker tripping, like, basically becomes like the reason for his own demise.
Yeah.
And Batman saves him, and then at the end, Batman does get to see. He watches It's a Wonderful Life for Dick, who says, "See, it is a wonderful life," and Batman says, "It has its moments." And you think that that's where they could end it, but instead, cut back to Joker now in the cell singing, and then says, "Merry Christmas." And then that's it. And I'm like, oh, what a perfect ending.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty great.
Love this episode. My favorite. Have you heard me say it's my favorite episode of the series?
It's the long
my favorite
Halloween
episode
of the Batman animated series for you.
I don't know if I go that far, but it's damn good. Perfect. I mean, watch it anytime you watch Batman the Animated Series, but definitely watch it every year. And I know you and I, we are not the first, or even we're not the first 100 people that have talked about Christmas with the Joker.
Yeah.
But I will happily talk about this episode anytime.
Yeah, it's such a mainstay in the holiday, and that's probably why I've seen it. So probably more than any other animated series episode. It was because there's just something about how great it is with Christmas. It's Christmas time. You think about this episode and you put it on at least once a year.
Yeah, definitely. And it's one that, my Mira, she likes the animated series. Flat out, she does like it and catches it when it's on. But this is definitely one. I think I put it on, so I watched it a couple of times already this season. The first time that I put it on was while she was like going to go to sleep or something. Their ears perked up, and she's like, "Wait, you're watching the Christmas with the Joker? Well, I want to watch that one." I'm like, "Well, I'll watch it with you again." No, it's
well,
okay.
we must.
I'm gonna watch it like 5 times before Christmas, so that's okay.
Yeah.
And it's just even more impressive as some of the nuggets that you brought up, and the great point you brought up of Hamill just had it figured out.
Yeah.
I mean, he was limited in his performance because of, I mean, not hugely, but to match the animation already.
Yeah.
And yet, again, like, I re-emphasize the point of go watch this and then watch one of his later episodes, and man, the guy, he has it nailed. Conroy has a ton too, for sure. But you can catch some little moments where it's like, okay, this evolves a little bit. And I feel like Joker is, nope, he is zoned in, which is great.
Yeah.
So I've said my final thoughts on this. You have anything else?
Well, the very dark place I was going to take this, one of my final thoughts is that it's really interesting. And then this ties into Joker perhaps doing this as a, I'm going to show the world, I'm going to recreate a program I would be able to do if I was a famous comedian. Joker's first appearance in the legacy of the Batman animated universe involves him stealing family members to create like a family, because he doesn't have one of his own. And then you think about it, like the Joker's final appearance in the timeline, when you go to Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, his Joker's final act as before he dies involves him stealing Batman's family members to try to create a family of his own. So I'm like, I think that's I don't know if that they had that in mind when they made that, but it's, as a bookend, it's really interesting to go from this like seemingly haha, like more lighter yet, version to like, this is like the ultimate, like how much of a bastard Joker is, going to the lengths he took in Batman Beyond Return of the Joker.
He creates these families since he doesn't have one of his own. Aww. Just like the laugh track in the studio. Aww.
Yeah.
Poor Joker. He's just longing for family. That's why he likes Batman. Batman's the only one that'll pay attention to him. Sad. So on that happy note, celebrate the Christmas season with Christmas with the Joker. Ryan Haas, thank you for coming back on to Batmanimation.
Yes.
Team Ryan's the Ryan brain of BOF right here. Why don't you go ahead and plug away anything and everything you'd like to?
Let's see. Follow me on Twitter at SMB_Ryan. And
Woo!
I've got my Mario Brothers movie archive website. You can follow on Twitter at SMB Movie. And I don't know, like I'm around. I'm doing things for BOF as they come up. I think what was I on?
The Batman Game Club.
The game club, yes, might come in the future. We've got a BOF episode about Gotham Knights that's out, and I've been on a few Batman 89 chapter by chapters. So check it out.
There you go. He's everywhere, folks. You just gotta know where to look. If there's anything you see,
the BOF podcast feed,
Mario related, Haas is connected in some way. As for me, check out BOF. New episode of my podcast, The Batman Book Club, is dropped with BOF's own Santa Claus, Peter Arvera. We get to talk Frank Miller's first published Batman comic and wanted Santa Claus, Dead or Alive, written by the great Denny O'Neil, and also teamed on illustrating with Steve Mitchell. He always gets forgotten, but don't know the distinction of who did what work, but they're both credited as artists. But anyways, there you go. Check that out. Listen wherever you listen to podcasts. It's definitely on Batman on Film. It's the easiest thing to just go to. So, Haas, again, thanks for coming back, talking Batman with me.
Yeah.
And everybody else, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Thanks for listening to Batmanimation, a BatmanOnFilm.com podcast revisiting the animated TV and film adventures of the Caped Crusader. Follow Batmanimation on Twitter at Batmanimation. Follow BOF on Twitter at The Batman on Film. Follow Jet on Twitter at Batman on Film. For Jet and Team BOF, I'm announcer Rachel. Batman on Film, authoritative, definitive, the original. Established in 1998.